has published a hit piece on Bernie Sanders using quotes from former Hillary Clinton staffers. Now, this has to do with Bernie Sanders' use of private jets after he had lost the primaries and became a surrogate for Hillary Clinton. So just keep that in mind. This was when he decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and help the Democratic candidate here, even though we had a pretty brutal primary process. And so he was traveling from one place to another in a very short period of time. And as a result, in some cases, he had to rely on the use of private jets. So Daniel Lippman at Politico writes this piece and says, Sanders repeatedly requested and received the use of a carbon-spewing private jet for himself and his traveling staff when he served as a surrogate campaigner for Hillary Clinton.
Let's note the verbiage here, carbon-spewing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't quite tell where you're coming at this from. And so quick note here, because the worst is yet to come. And we're gonna break down the numbers for you guys and see if they have a point or not. So this is a very typical right-wing talking point. In fact, we're gonna get to Tucker Carlson making a similar point in a second, where they say, if you care about the world and you're trying to do good in the world, whether it's for climate change or any other issue that's progressive, you must be poverty-stricken and homeless. And so if you ever use a car, ever use a refrigerator, ever use a plane, ha ha! Now bad guys are allowed to use anything they like. They're allowed to use infinite amount of money to buy off all of our politicians. That's not much of an issue. Politico almost never covers that, right? But my God, you used a plane. They're literally attacking a presidential candidate and then now someone helping a presidential candidate in this context of using a plane. Ladies and gentlemen, they got him.
So let me give you more from Politico. In the 2 years following the presidential election, Sanders continued his frequent private jet travel, spending at least $342,000 on flights. Now keep that figure in mind because I am going to show you how much money the Clinton campaign had raised by the end of 2016.
But super important clarification here. He put that number up front in the article.
Yes.
But that is not what Bernie Sanders spent during the campaign. That's the 2 years afterwards. And so the reason for that is that the number that he spent on the campaign is actually much lower. Now, if you're wondering, wait, 2 years after the 2016 campaign, what did he spend it on? Well, Politico buries in paragraph 38 or so. It might even actually be lower than that. Oh, by the way, he did that because he was helping other Democratic candidates try to win their elections in 2018.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's weird.
Convenient to leave that at the very, very bottom of the article.
Yeah, and what's funny is that near the very top of the article, Lippman repeats the talking point about a lot of people accuse Bernie Sanders of not helping Hillary Clinton enough. But wait a minute, the whole point of this article is he helped her too much. That he used a jet to go to small communities that you can't get to with charter planes because he did 39 different rallies for her. So wait, did he help her too much or not enough? Which one is it?
No, but look, the sources for this hit piece are all Clinton staffers, people who worked for Clinton, and understand that he used these flights, these private flights, in an effort to help her win the general election. So he's getting criticized by Clinton's people, okay? He's also getting criticized from progressives who did not agree with his decision to turn around and support her. He's getting criticized all over, right? And so my point is, like, you try to do a good thing and you try to do something principled and make sure that someone like Trump doesn't get elected, those very people that you're trying to help out are gonna turn around and they're gonna do this to you.
No good deed goes unpunished.
It's disgusting. This is politics in America. So let me give you more. So this is an anonymous source, someone who worked on Clinton's campaign. Quote, we would try to fight as much as possible because of cost and availability of planes, but they would request a jet every time. We would always try to push for commercial. At the campaign, you're constantly trying to save like 25 cents. Oh, really? You're trying to save 25 cents? That's interesting. If I can recall correctly, the Clinton campaign had no problem raising money. In fact, if you look at the numbers, Clinton and her super PACs raised a total of $1.2 billion. Just to compare Clinton to Trump, Trump and his super PACs raised a total of $646.6 million. So I'm just giving you those figures to help you understand that the Clinton campaign was not pinching pennies. They weren't trying to save 25 cents. And when you have multiple rallies or multiple campaign stops in a very, very short period of time, and commercial isn't an option, how are you expecting Senator Sanders to go around, doing your work for you to help promote your candidate?
Okay, now I'm gonna give you numbers that are more devastating. In the first quote from Hillary staffer, which I appreciate, he went on the record, his name is Zach Patkanis. He was the director of rapid response, which apparently was not very rapid, nor a good response, since he was one of the losers who lost to Donald Trump. So let's get real on that. These are all incredibly bitter people. Bernie Sanders made the mistake of helping them. They're now stabbing him in the back for that. But let me read you his unbelievable quote, and then I'll give you the real context. He said, "I'm not shocked that while thousands of volunteers braved the heat and cold to knock on doors until their fingers bled in a desperate effort to stop Donald Trump, His Royal Majesty King Bernie Sanders would only deign to leave his plush DC office or his brand new second home on the lake if he was flown around on a cushy private jet like a billionaire master of the universe. Are you kidding me?" All right, so let's note that the Clintons have over $150 million in personal wealth and have raised close to $3 billion in their political life. King Bernie Sanders, and he's not remotely accurate on him demanding only private jets. No one actually believes that, and even in the article, although they desperately try to hide this fact, they do eventually say, well, it does look like there was they did use commercial. They used commercial when they could use commercial. And they used charter when they couldn't. And they had to get to the rallies to help Hillary Clinton. But let's go to see who the royalty is. So finally, they explained that the amount that was spent on the private jets for Bernie Sanders helping Hillary Clinton was $100,000. You might think, well, that's a lot of money. Okay, you know how much Hillary Clinton spent on jets overall? $15.9 million. So explain to me who the royalty is. So one guy trying to help you spent $100,000. You yourself for the campaign spent $16 million. But Politico didn't choose to write an article about that. They chose to write an article about how, and by the way, the $100,000 figure is buried in the article as well.
Yes.
Okay, they lead with a totally different number. They bury that number. Do they put those two numbers together? Hey, for context and correct analysis, you should realize that it's 100,000 of 16 million that the Clinton campaign spent on private jets alone, okay? Nope. God forbid we should give that proper context. Instead, it's page after page of Clinton staffers saying, oh my God, he didn't help. We would have won if he had helped us more. And save some money. Oh, come on, as you are wasting people's money. Luckily, it was mainly large donors that gave you money, so I don't mind you wasting ExxonMobil's money.
Wait, okay. So I was gonna ask, so based on how much they spent on Bernie Sanders and his private jet travel, all Hillary Clinton had to do was like half a speech for Wall Street executives.
Oh, that's true. Hey, you know what? You could have given a 30-minute speech to Goldman Sachs, and you would have had money left over to pay for Bernie Sanders' plane travel to help you win the election. By the way, let me give you context on how many different places he went. He went 39 rallies in 13 states, 17 events in 11 states in the last week alone. But what do? They all turn around and go, oh yeah, he shouldn't have helped us. Even though we spent a tiny amount of money compared to a royal majesty who we spent $16 million on, well, it's Bernie's fault. No. Hey, for all the 6 people that talked to Politico about this, and understand there's 2 different sets of people that are at fault here. I think Politico did a terrible job, as usual, maybe yet another coincidence, of framing it against the progressive candidate and in favor of the establishment. That would be about the millionth time in a row, okay? So the second, but more guilty people are the 6 Hillary Clinton staffers that decided, oh, Bernie Sanders is running and he made the mistake of helping us. Let's all sharpen our knives and go find a Politico reporter who will of course report this, okay? And stab him in the back. Let's go do that.
I mean, what incentive does any candidate who lost in the primaries have to go off and help the winning candidate, right? The nominee. Like, what incentive do you have if this is the way that you would be treated later?
And unfortunately, in almost all of Washington, and certainly almost 100% of the people working at Politico. The belief is, well, look, it's obviously Sanders' fault that Clinton lost. And in fact, in this article, they intimate that, well, if Sanders had not run in the primary, oh, I'm sorry, did we challenge her royal majesty? I know it's not a democracy. We should have just ordained that she would be anointed the queen of the Democratic Party. Or perhaps, I know for Washington, this logic is a weird thing. They believe in alternative facts. Or maybe we were right that she was not a good candidate because she lost to an orange clown. But these 6 staffers who are part of the losers who brought us Donald Trump, they lost to Donald Trump. They should be hiding in a cave for the rest of their lives. In their infinite bitterness, turn around and go, well, I mean, I can't believe we had a democracy. Why didn't everybody just bow their heads during the primary? How dare they participate in democracy? See, that's why you might have lost, because you don't even believe in democracy. You don't believe that you need to run a good campaign. You thought you should just be handed the presidency.
Right.
They're probably bitter that Donald Trump. Why did the Republicans run in the general election? I'm sick of the mainstream media with their nonstop, massive bias, pretending to be neutral. Spare me your horse crap, okay? And then the Clinton people, when will you go away? Can just go work for another corporate person and then declare that they should be anointed the leader. Do the normal crap that you do. I'll give Zach credit, that guy that came out on the record with the Royal Majesty line, because at least he put his name on it. The rest of them hiding in the shadows, whispering in Politico's ear, oh, it was Bernie's fault. It was Bernie's fault. Okay. Hey, you know what? Your last thing, your logic last time around was, well, since Hillary Clinton finished second to Barack Obama, she's obviously the anointed leader and no one should challenge her in her primary. Well, Bernie Sanders finished second to Hillary Clinton last time around, and he is arguably the most popular politician in America. So according to your logic, not my logic, your logic, all the other establishment candidates should immediately cease their campaigns. Do you agree? Oh, all of a sudden you don't agree. Funny how that works. And they never, ever admit their bias. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.